governor of Illinois, Governor Pritzker, has said, don't come, we don't want you. Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, don't come, we don't want you. Trump's vow to send National Guard troops to Chicago, he called it, quote, a killing field. It sparked fear and frustration and defiance, even as the city's data showed steep declines in violence this year. Shootings are down 37%, homicides are down 32%, overall violent crime down 22%. Residents note crime is highly localized with stark neighborhood disparities. Some areas face 68% higher homicide rates than others. Yet, overall, the city felt safe. And I've been saying on all my media platforms and commentaries that it is suspect that data is not driving the president to anywhere but where there's blacks in charge. So it's not data-driven, because the data says, whether it's Washington, D.C., where they are, whether it's Chicago, where he's threatening to go, whether it's Los Angeles, where he's threatening to go, whether it's Oakland, where he's threatening to go, whether it's Baltimore, where he's threatening to go, that there's been a sharp decline in crime. Yet, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson's home district in Shreveport, Louisiana, has high crime rates, higher than Washington, D.C. So why is the president pinpointing them? Why isn't he sending National Guards there? Well, my guess is that he found himself drowning in the Epstein files scandal. He had to dig his way out. Even MAGA people were attacking him. And what do? What American demagogues have always done: go back to race. Blacks don't know how to run cities. Blacks are killing each other. Blacks will kill you. And it turns their attention around and may turn some of his bad polling around. And to double down on that, he not only has now tried to discredit black mayors in 5 or 6 cities, now he's called on member of a governor at the Fed to be fired, and this is the Federal Reserve, because there's been an accusation that there's something wrong with her mortgage arrangements. Now, she has not been investigated, prosecuted, less known, indicted, and convicted. Just on some referral, just on somebody saying something, she ought to give up being a governor in the Federal Reserve. And the president of the United States, who has 34 felony convictions, first sitting president to sit behind that desk in the Oval Office, that has been convicted of felony crimes and found guilty of civil fraud on banks and his businesses, as well as sexual harassment. And he has the unmitigated gall to talk about whether somebody who's not been convicted or even indicted or something ought to step aside. If we're using that measuring stick, he should not have been allowed to run for president. He's a convict. So how does he become the one that can lay the level of measuring somebody's fitness for character? I mean, it is about as crazy as it sounds. And we also see that, and I'm noticing some of you on our on our message pad. Georgia Daniel says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, traveling in from Ohio on Amtrak in Pennsylvania, keeping it real. Well, that's wonderful. Hope you headed this way for the march. Nicole DeMarco saying from Tacoma, Washington, we appreciate leadership and insight, wisdom. New York Times reports today that grand juries in D.C. are not voting to prosecute bogus cases brought by Trump's prosecutors. That's good to hear. I read that article in the New York Times, and I hope that it is true. And then Bruce Turner says, crazy as that cabinet meeting yesterday. Now, let me tell you what Bruce is talking about. They had a cabinet meeting, secretaries of each department, and they went around the table taking turns praising the president. Nobody's been like you. Will you come see the portrait hung on the side of the building? Oh, great president. I mean, it was something like out of the movies of Roman Emperor times. And how somebody could humiliate themselves like that, to bow down and kiss the ring, and not just kiss it, but slobber all over it. And the other thing that bothers me, I think I brought it up on Morning Joe this morning, is what kind of insecurity, how much self-doubt does he have that he needs those reassurances? There's something missing in him that makes it necessary for him to have that. Because a stable, self-confident person doesn't need you stroking them. I mean, anybody need grown folks to stroke you, there's something wrong. So let's talk about all of that. And Democrats won, by the way, a seat they were not supposed to win in Iowa. So they are absolutely starting to fight back and win. And Hakeem Jeffries says the Dems are ready to redistrict beyond California to counter desperate Republicans. And that's what I want to hear. And more important, that's what I want to see. Let's get ready to take a break. And I'm coming back and open up the phones as well as our live stream message board. I want to read from Teresa Lawson. I see you listening from Huntsville, Alabama. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. Keeping it real. We can't. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying, if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may tell you you are nothing from nowhere. But when they come to where they laid you, let you be gone on to somewhere else. I've been called everything but a child of God. They said I'd be nothing going nowhere. They castigated us. They called us troublemakers. They called us loudmouth. And when they came to see me go to jail, I wasn't there. They can catch me on MSNBC now. They can catch me leading marches now. I serve a God that not only will go through the crucifixion, but will bring you through the resurrection. We're going to resurrect in the city. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is our time. Hi, I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, president of National Action Network. August 28th, 1963, there were many that gathered in Washington for the historic March on Washington. And many of us grew up hearing the speech Dr. King gave that day, I Have a Dream. But in that speech, he talked about America giving the Negro, blacks, a check that is bounced in the bank of history. So this August 28th, Thursday leading into Labor Day weekend, we that usually go to Washington to commemorate, we're having the Memorial March on Wall Street. Why are you going to Wall Street, Reverend Al? Because the people that have benefited from the check bouncing on Medicaid with this big, beautiful bill that took SNAP from people that need food assistance, they're on Wall Street, trading every day, doing the stock market every day. When is the last time we've had a mass march, nonviolent but determined, right there where they know, we know who you are, and we will not support the companies that undermine and finance our being destabilized. Join me, the National Action Network, and Martin Luther King III, August 28, 10.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation.
Wow.
And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It was one of the slave houses. Good to see you, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when, exactly. That was, exactly.
I used to fly around. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. Wow. South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James. Yeah. Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people come too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came to me in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helped me push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But no.
So we just wanted to greet.
Past hope, because I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare, and my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilly is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Demetrius Jones writes on our message board, good day, Reverend Al. Donald Trump is very insecure. He knows that he's a failure. That is why he needs yes people around him. He's playing a very dangerous game with our government. I totally agree with that, Demetrius. And then let me read this one. Steve T. says, Al Sharpton does not speak for us. Ask the people in those communities if they feel more safe. I bet they do, and I know they do. I got family in D.C. They feel more safe than it ever was. Facts. Well, first of all, I think you think a lot of yourself, Steve. I didn't say I speak for you or anybody. I'm speaking for me, and I'm speaking for the people that I speak to. We have an office in Washington, D.C. on 18th Street, and we have members of the organization that I talk to. In fact, I was there Sunday, and they have said unanimously that they do not feel safer, that the National Guard is not even in the 8th and 9th Ward. They're down in Georgetown, and they're unarmed and untrained. So I don't know who you talking to that feels safer, but I've not said or spoke to anyone that does. And there may be some that does, but I haven't spoke to them. I'm speaking about and for the ones that I've spoke to. So I always kind of find it ironic. People say, well, oh, this guy doesn't speak for me, that guy doesn't speak to me, Sharpton don't speak for me. Like we can't speak for ourselves. Nobody speaks for everybody. So kind of grow up. Let's have a mature way of having these conversations. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget on Saturdays and Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. Certainly we're going to be dealing a lot with this weekend, and I'm live. I know it's Labor Day weekend, but I work both Saturday and Sunday. We're going to certainly be dealing with another shooting in Minneapolis. Now 2 children killed today, 14 children and 3 adults injured. But we'll also be dealing with the fallout around. Let's look at what the National Guard did and did not do in Washington. What is the report now? Have we had any lowering of the crime because of them? I'm going to have on people from D.C. I'm going to have on people from Chicago, where he's threatening to go next. I'm also going to deal with the voter redistricting. Do not forget, this is going to be extremely important because the redistricting will be decisive in whether or not the Democrats take the House next year and Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker, which changes how you decide the calendar of legislation and of people. So lot riding on a lot of this. And I certainly want you to watch Politics Nation both nights, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And I know a lot of you are dealing with Labor Day festivities. Just put the show on. You know, put it on at your Labor Day outing. If you get them to watch it, I'll take it as my job to keep them. All right, let us also remember, and people already on the road. I just got call from Louisville. The bus is already on the road. The bus getting ready to leave Memphis. People are already getting on the road, headed here tomorrow for the big march on Wall Street. It is the 62nd anniversary of the March on Washington, 1963, when Dr. King made the speech. I Have a Dream was what it was put in history as, but he said a lot more than that. And in 2000, 25 years ago, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, Dr. King's widow, and Martin Luther King III and I did the commemoration of the day in Washington and pledged that we were going to have every 5 years a State of the Dream gathering. And we've done that, Martin and I. Mrs. King introduced us that day, and we've done that every 5 years. Last big one was in 2000, during the pandemic, 2020. During the pandemic, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery had happened, and we still put 200,000 people there in Washington Lincoln Memorial. This is the first year we're taking it out of Washington because the dream deferrers are on Wall Street. They're the ones getting the tax breaks with the 2017 tax bill restored by Donald Trump. They're the ones that are benefiting from stopping and killing diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're the ones that are making these huge deals globally at the expense of American workers. So labor unions and civil rights groups are joining National Action Network and Martin Luther King III and Andrea Waters King and I at Wall Street tomorrow. And you should be there with us. 10 a.m. We're going to start at the African Burial Grounds, Foley Square, right there in the square where the courts are. There's a block from the African Burial Grounds. Then we're going to march past the burial grounds, down past to the Bull, right in the middle of Wall Street. So they could see thousands of us saying, we're putting the spotlight on y'all. Y'all are not going to hide from what you're doing. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's start in Washington, D.C.
Need to take a break.
All right, let me take a break, and I'll come back to Washington as our first call. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
All right, then, we got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh no.
Happy birthday this
Please.
weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got tell Brother Bird be ready Daniel 5th chapter I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
Or a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready.
Oh.
Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the 2 companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're going to do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man. Don't call me the coin man. I'm going to stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Hi, I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, president of National Action Network. August 28th, 1963, there were many that gathered in Washington for the historic March on Washington. And many of us grew up hearing the speech Dr. King gave that day, I Have a Dream. But in that speech, he talked about America giving the Negro, blacks, a check that is bounced in the bank of history. So this August 28th, Thursday leading into Labor Day weekend, we that usually go to Washington to commemorate, we're having the Memorial March on Wall Street. Why are you going to Wall Street, Reverend Al? Because the people that have benefited from the check bouncing on Medicaid with this big, beautiful bill that took SNAP from people that need food assistance, they're on Wall Street, trading every day, doing the stock market every day. When is the last time we've had a mass march, nonviolent but determined, right there where they know, we know who you are, and we will not support the companies that undermine and finance our being destabilized. Join me, the National Action Network and Martin Luther King III, August 28th, 10 a.m. We're going to march from the African burial ground just 1 mile to the Bull in the middle of Wall Street and have our rally. I want the faith community particularly to be there. Dr. King always built from the church. We need to be a witness in these times. People say, Reverend Al, I'm tired of marching. I say, what's the last march you've been to? Most of you never marched. This is your time to show up and stand up. God bless you.
The real Sharpton.
have a short visit today. So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in.
Yes, sir. We want to go with gold.
Yeah.
We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the
Yeah.
plantation.
Wow.
And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's what, exactly. That was, exactly.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. And let me go to Washington, D.C. to Joe. Joe, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
First of all, I'd like to give my condolences to the family in Minnesota and kids, and also the family in Gaza about their death too. Mr. Sharpton, Trump always raising devil about crime in D.C. Why can't he stop the drugs from coming into this country? They're causing all the crime in these cities. That's where you should start in the beginning. Most of those cities are infested with drugs.
I think you're right. I think that we're asking the wrong questions to the right person, and the right person is the president, who can go with all these tariffs and all these other things, has not addressed how we deal with drugs getting in this country and getting on the
That's
streets in our community. I
Right.
think you made a very good point.
Okay, sir. Thank you, and God bless you. Okay.
God bless you. Let me read some of our message board. It says Tanya Stovall is saying, Trisha, I agree with you about the endless spending that Trump is doing while dismantling the country brick by brick. He is definitely doing that. And I think that a lot of us are really, really unmindful of just how much this man is out of control. And there's been no resistance. The thing that surprises me is that we have just adjusted to this and gotten silent. That's why tomorrow's march is so important, is that we've got to show that we've not gone to sleep. And we've got to put right in their face that they're not getting away with this. And it energizes those on our side that, yeah, we got support, let's do something about it. I'm almost embarrassed that he's been in 7 months and this first time black organizations took the lead We have other organizations involved, unions and other groups, but we've taken the lead on our doing a march. We should have been out. We the ones suffering more. We the ones suffering more. And they try everything they can. They're going to attack this governor in the Federal Reserve, Lisa Cook. They're going to attack State Attorney General of New York, Tish James. Yet they're going to justify a man that is a convicted felon. I mean, if I were you, and I know some Trump supporters may listen to the show, I would never bring up legal issues and say you support him. I remember I saw somebody, it jogged my memory, I saw somebody put on one of our, I suppose, MAGA people, put on our message board, what about Tawana Brawley? Tawana Brawley, for you that don't know, 40 years ago now, I stood up for a girl that was found in a bag and said that she'd been raped over 3 or 4 days by some white law enforcement. And the people in the community rallied, and finally she got 2 lawyers, and they came to me, and I decided I would fight and say, let's get this case in court. Her mother believes her. They deserve a day in court. The jury found out, grand jury found that they do not believe her story was a hoax. Okay. I went by what the lawyer said, her mother said, just like I have with every other case before and after that. I've been in cases since I was 16 years old. Every one of them, they told me was a hoax. But what I said to this person, I said, let me ask you a question. Out of 50 years of my activism, you got one case that you disagree with me, one. Because I believed a girl found in a bag. You support a president that tried to bag a woman and was convicted of that. Explain to me the consistency. Donald Trump tried to bag a woman. She sued him and won the case, was convicted of felonies. During the same time that I supported Tawana Brawley, I supported the Central Park 5 when Donald Trump took out ads saying they ought to face the death penalty. I ended up right about that case. So, I'm supposed to have a perfect score in your mind. I still don't know whether the grand jury was right or wrong. And the only reason I'm recounting it is because I want you to show I want to show to you the different standards these MAGA critics have. They can stand up and defend what is blatantly wrong, and got to go back almost a half a century to try to make something that is marginal at best. It shows that they don't even believe it themselves. They ain't that stupid. They're just reaching. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
My man, Rev, thanks for taking my call. Rev, a couple things. When it comes to this is a question. When it comes to the National Guard, you said they were in Georgetown. What area is that? Is that like mostly white? Is that the business district?
It's the business and the upper class white.
Okay. So are they there to protect the whites? To protect the whites from the blacks from coming in? Or they should be going to where the crime is, in my opinion.
If they're there to deal with crime, you would think that's where they were going.
Yeah, and I don't hear too much of that those comments that they should be going to where the crime is instead of in the areas where there are no crimes. I don't hear much of that. But Rev, let me say this, Rev. I noticed a couple times that Donald Trump, when he has these cabinet meetings, he gets those cabinet meetings to praise him. Mm-hmm. And that's something he's always done. So my thing is, what about these guys are grown people. They're grown men and they're grown women. It's like they're suck-ups, to do what they do to this man. and he's sitting back laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
I hope they know that I hope they know that he doesn't care about them, but they don't care because, they trying to feather their own cats. And so, like I said, they only got 2.5, maybe 3 years left, and then they're gone. And the last thing, how can I put this? I don't know, Rev. I'm just lost for words as to what they do. Trump seems to think that he has he does what he does because he says, I'm the president. I can do what I want. And he thinks that way because he has he has Senate, he has the House, and he has the Supreme Court in his back pocket. Of course he's going to think that way. So I don't know how anybody can stop him. I just don't know. Hopefully the midterms come around next year, we can take back the House, possibly the Senate, but how it stands now, yeah, it's just 3 more years of this, and he's done.
Yeah, well, I think that, and thank you for your call, Ray. I think that it is. I don't even think we need to go back far in history. Donald Trump was the president in 2020. The year that George Floyd happened, Breonna Taylor happened, Ahmaud Arbery happened. He was president. They were not going to do anything about under any of the cases. They were in charge of the Justice Department. They were we street on 3 cases. 2 of the cases, the people that did the killing are in jail right now and got many more years to do. Right now, they're in jail. So I'm a firm believer we can stop them if we do what we did. We mobilize in the streets and change the climate of the country, which also then led to him losing re-election that year. So he can be stopped. The issue is whether we're going to get up and go to work to stop it. That's why we're starting the marches tomorrow. I'm going to be organizing. I'm going to be announcing some things at the march. Let me tell you, I'm getting bulletins as I'm talking. There's buses just left Tallahassee, Florida, 44 passengers each. Bus 35 just left Memphis, Tennessee. 44 people just left on a bus from Louisville, Kentucky. All of these people leaving now, headed this way to march on Wall Street. That's how you stop them. Do you think he's going to get up and voluntarily stop himself? No, we got to stop him. Why? Because we got to stop him from doing this to us. And all the people riding on them buses, and I know somebody on the buses, several of them got the radio on listening. Those are the people paying the price, just like the Freedom Riders paid the price when I was 4 and 5 years old, which is why I can use public accommodations they couldn't and vote where they couldn't. We gonna stop him. And the longer that he convinces us that we cannot do nothing, he ain't got to worry about us trying. They told me, Ray, when the killing happened of George Floyd, and I said, we got to go to Washington. I know that it's 5 years since we had the big thing, the big move, but we got to go lay it right at the government's desk. They said, Rev, you cannot go to Washington. It's a pandemic. You're going to cause a super spreader. I said, but we've got to go. I had to call Robert Smith to get his private plane to even get to Minneapolis to do the eulogy at George Floyd's funeral. Got Tyler Perry to fly in the family on his private plane because most airlines were down. Then that August, we went to Washington with the pandemic high. We spent over $100,000 getting thermometers because we had to, by audit of the Trump administration, test everybody before they came into the grounds around Lincoln Memorial. And that's why we know we had over 200,000. And we backed him up. Those people that killed Ahmaud Arbery, that man, that cop that put his knee on George Floyd's neck, they thought they could do whatever they wanted to do because it was Trump era. And we broke through anyhow. So we can do what we stand up and make happen. Like we could have made Kamala Harris president last year. We didn't. So now we got to stand up and back this stuff up. As for me, I'm not stopping because my grandson and my daughters are not going to grow up in this foolishness. Hello? Huh?
Judge ordered the state's congressional maps to be redrawn before the 2026 elections. Judge Diana Gibson ruled the legislature acted unlawfully when it bypassed the approved by voters in 2018 and created maps that favored Republicans. Lawmakers now have until September 24th to produce new maps that comply with voter-approved rules. Cracker Barrel is reversing its course after unveiling a controversial new logo.
I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say real song. I say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. Yeah. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief, all we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I say, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on we need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clay Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Now God has smiled on me, but he has set me free. God smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of no way. If you just keep the faith and refuse to lose, and God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God has smiled on me, and he has set me free. Let me sing here.
I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were the pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off a bunch of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Oh, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Alice Cole is on our message board saying, Alice Cole joining you from Marina, California. May God continue to bless you and keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Alice. Keep me in your prayers. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go to our phone calls. I want people that are on the buses. I know, and I've already announced, the bus from Louisville's on the way here, Louisville, Kentucky. The bus from Tallahassee, Florida is on the way. The bus from Memphis is on the way. Somebody on them buses called me on the air and let us know that y'all are headed to New York for the March on Wall Street. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are coming with a mammoth group of people that are saying to the, what I call them, the modern day robber barons. These are the ones that got the tax cuts from Trump. These are the ones killing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are the ones that are making all kinds of global deals, but not dealing with Africa, not dealing with the Caribbean. These are the ones that are financing the bills that cuts Medicaid and cuts SNAP programs. You thought we were all asleep, but people on the road right now, as far as Louisville, Kentucky, as far as Memphis, Tennessee, I mean, they're already on the road to come bring you a message. You thought that died 60 years ago. We're going to show you tomorrow that some of us are not rolling over saying, oh, ain't nothing we could do. Oh, Trump's got all the power. They fought against tougher presidents than Trump when their law was on their side. It was against the law for them to sit in the front of the bus. They fought them. Against the law for them to use some toilets, and they fought them. It was against the law for them to eat in certain restaurants, and they fought them. So we're in a better position, and you think we done lost our ability to fight? The fighters are boarding buses, planes, trains, to come right to the captains of industry to say, no, we're not going to roll over. You won an election, but you have not won the battle. We're going to fight this battle. I preached at Howard University Sunday that when Goliath, on behalf of the Philistines, threatened the armies of Israel, and all of the Israeli army trained, boot camp trained people were afraid of Goliath. A little shepherd boy said, if y'all don't believe in the God of our forefathers, I do. I'll fight the giant. And they tried to talk about it and say, boy, you don't even know what you're talking about. You never been even to boot camp. You never been trained. He said, yeah, I'm just a shepherd boy. But one day I was out in the field taking care of daddy's sheep, and a lion and a bear grabbed one of daddy's sheep. I never been trained in lion fighting. I never got a degree in bear fighting. But I beat the lion and the bear to save daddy's sheep. And the same God that gave me the strength over the lion and the bear will give me the strength over this giant Goliath. Well, that's what I believe. That's why I'm headed to Wall Street in the morning, meeting these buses, meeting you that are coming, whatever means of transportation. Because I believe the same God that beat the Confederates gave us the strength to beat the Confederates, beat Jim Crow, beat George Wallace, give us the strength to beat Donald Trump. Now, you may not believe it, so you sit home and complain, throw your hands up and say it's too much, you can't handle it. There were some like you in those days. But some of us gonna fight back. We come too far for them to just take it like we are not the children of those that turned this thing around in the first place. I remember 1995 speaking at the Million Man March. I ended my speech saying, as James Brown said in a song, some of us rather die on our feet than live on our knees. I'm not getting on my knees. And it's not that they can beat us, it's that we're not even fighting. So I don't care if this is your last moment decision. Get on whatever transportation you can and head to Wall Street. Show you a fighter. Quit wallowing in your self-pity. Don't nobody feel sorry for you. Trump and them don't feel sorry for you. But they care if you stand up like we did for George Floyd. You don't think that mattered? Ask them 3 white cops that's in jail this morning in Minnesota. Doesn't matter. Let's go to RT in St. Louis. RT, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Sir, thanks for taking my call, Reverend Sharpton. Just a couple of comments on Trump with the National Guard there in D.C. You had a caller about 2 callers ago. He said he was asking about how does all these drugs get into these communities. The question I ask is, who's ultimately responsible for all the guns in these inner city communities when black, brown, and poor white people who live in these communities don't own any gun manufacturing company? So who's ultimately responsible for that? And the last comment, Reverend Sharpton, is I did a Google search on U.S. cities with the highest crime, and Washington D.C. was not even on the list. The two cities that were at the top of the list, Reverend Sharpton, were Memphis, Tennessee, and St. Louis, Missouri, which are Republican-controlled red states. You know what I'm saying. So I think that the main reason why Trump has the National Guard in D.C. is for personal reasons, because he's the president and that's where he's residing at, and that's the only reason why he has the National Guard there in that particular city. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you for your call, RT. Let's go to Christian in Manhattan. Christian.
Hello, Reverend Al. This is Christine.
Oh, Christine.
In
All right, Christine.
Yep, and I'm going to be on the bus with you tomorrow. I'm coming down and get on the bus, and I'm going to the march. And I thank you for all that you do for us, Reverend Al. And someone sent me from Facebook your commercial about the march, and I sent it all to all my contacts. And some of my friends didn't know about it. I mean, they're in different states. But a lot of people were just, because I told them, I sent them the commercial, and I said, I'm going. I sent them your Facebook posting, and I said, I'm going. So they want to know how can I do that, and how some of them say I'm courageous, and I think I am. But I thank you for having the National Action Network. And I came up here in 2018, and I was hurt, and my husband had passed away, and that's the other thing that I'm working on now. I'll be at that march tomorrow, but I am working on the Vietnam Veteran Memorial. And a few months ago, Don Davis mentioned it on CBS one Sunday. So I Googled it to see. I didn't know you still can put the name of a veteran on that mall. So that's what I'm in the process of getting all his information together. He kept everything. And I want his name on it. And I'm just happy about that I can possibly get it on there. And if I'm successful, it'll be a ceremony, and I want to tell the world because my husband, Sergeant Major Arnold Eli, I'm not going to say the last name today.
I hope you get it done, and let me know when you get it done.
I will.
We want to celebrate that. That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to try and commit your life to moving towards some purpose. I love that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Thank you, Christine. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Thing past hope, because I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare, and my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilly is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all up the coast. The big shipbuilders became enriched off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves of the present, but they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans, they export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. It's Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street to keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because We didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying, if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell it. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may tell you you are nothing from nowhere, but when they come to where they laid you, let you be gone on to somewhere else. I've been called everything but a child of God. They said I'd be nothing going nowhere. They castigated us. They called us troublemakers. They called us loudmouths. And when they came to see me go to jail, I wasn't there. They can catch me on MSNBC now. They can catch me leading marches now. I serve a God that not only will go through the crucifixion, but will bring you through the resurrection. We're going to resurrect in the city. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is our time. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-562-5797, 1-877-532-5797. 7. And I think Happiness Donuts saying on our message board, good point, not enough resistance. And that's what I'm saying, not enough resistance. And tomorrow is going to start it from our community and others that are going to support us. 11 or 12, I'm sorry, labor unions are coming out. They're having a big rallies on Labor Day around the country. I said, we'll support you, but you got to support us. They'll be there. Because they have made, in the Trump administration, a direct attack on us by name. They're not even sugarcoating it. They're saying we're banning black studies. They're saying we're stopping DEI. They're saying that we're going to the Smithsonian Museum on African American history and culture and taking out anything we don't like. Y'all talking too bad about slavery. I mean, this ain't no can you read between the lines. They are writing it out clear. So what is your problem other than you don't have enough faith and courage to stand up? Because that's not like it's not clear. This is no, you don't understand, Rev Mal. No, they're saying it straight out. So you either have no courage, no concern for your children or grandchildren, the kind of world they're going to live in, because they're snatching everything right in your face. And if you think hiding is going to help you, what they're going to cut your job in a minute. They're going to cut your benefits in a minute. And then you're going to wish you had showed up at a march or rally or voted. Oh, it's coming to you unless we stop it now. Rem Al, I'm going to march, but how long is this going to take? How many months? I don't know how long. I know one thing. If we fight till we win, we win. If we don't fight, we have no choice but to lose. And they're not going to back up. They're not going to stop feeling sorry for you at all. All right, let's go back to the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to my friend, Miss Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Miss Richardson.
Yes, good afternoon, my darling.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Reb, you know, you're right, and I hope you will not stop saying it, that they really don't care. They're going to do everything that they can do and muster up their muscles because, you know, you and I talked about it. It goes back to the Tea Party. They were conspiring to do these things long ago, and, you know, you would think that most of our people would know that. These things were not, you know, just lollygagging with these people. They meant business when they started that Tea Party thing. So, but what I'm stressing to say is what they're doing is totally, like you're saying, it's totally unconstitutional. They broke every rule in the book when it comes to the Constitution. Because, see, like you're saying, Reb, they're doing this right in our faces. And you know what they're saying, Reb. You know what I've always said about that clause in the Constitution. That's what I think Trump is going by. He, as far as he's concerned, he doesn't even see us as being equals with whites. He sees us as being, you know, am I right or wrong?
Absolutely right.
Because, see, he is for violence. You see, it's in his eyes. You know, Mrs. Richardson can look at a man and instantly I will know where he's coming from. He has evil written in his eyes. And I cannot understand the life of me why. Well, I think I do, because I got a lot of lessons from my mentor, and even Dr. Francis Quest Welsing's mentor, Rev. That was Neely Fuller, the gentleman I told you that lived to be 97. And I think he was almost 97. And he stresses they're brilliant, evil people. That's how Europeans, Trump is really speaking for millions. I mean, there were 80 million or something that voted for him. How many of those people are up on the Hill protesting? Not, I don't see any up there. And they had cameras up there the other day on the news. The news I was watching, they don't have anybody up at the Supreme Court protesting Donald Trump or Congress or the Capitol Hill where the Capitol sits. I don't see. I mean, these people must be all out there backing them. Almost 80 million. So what are we going to do? The only thing we can do is do what Rev say. Don't be afraid. At least go and show your gumption that you're not going to take it. That's all we can do, because of course we can't do much more other than being hurt like they did at January 6th. I don't want to see any of my people hurt or decapitated. Because, see, that's their intentions. Rev, you know how Donald Trump thinks. He's evil, and that's his mindset. He gets a happy kind of a merriment to see other people hurt. This man must have been hurt somewhere in his life, even though he's rich. But he must have been, something just wasn't clicking in his life as a man or something, because I don't understand why he's so evil. But anyway, Reb, that's all I want to say. But look, right on for tomorrow, and we're gonna, my husband and I, we're gonna be looking at because usually they have you on public TV when they're gonna, because usually the main news.
Yeah, they'll be. I'm sure MSNBC and the rest will be covering it. And for those that can't get in, we're going to live stream it after. But thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. You know, I was thinking as Mrs. Richardson was talking, and I was 9 years old, 8 years old, going on 9, when they had the March on Washington in 63. And as I got older and got involved as a teenager, I would ask some of my uncles and aunts, did you go to March on Washington? And they would kind of look shame and come up with excuses. Somebody going to ask you one day, when they stood up to Trump, when they had the big march on Wall Street, when they did this, that, were you there? Well, no, I was busy getting ready for Labor Day. Getting ready to do what? Well, I had other things to do. Like what? Your children will ask you. All the things that you think are more important now will not matter to your own children. Will not matter. When this man put National Guards in black cities, took black studies out of schools, said, I'm going to take the black museum and strip it of slavery, and you didn't do nothing, even go to a rally, nothing? How do you explain that to yourself, less known your kids? Let's take a break. Think about it. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good sound and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves to the person, but they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's where they named it Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders, who all get different cases, never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Phone lines open at 1-877-532-5797. And I'm really, really, really anxious to hear what people around the country has to say. Another shooting, 2 children dead at a school in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Several others hurt. Donald Trump threatening to come into Chicago now with National Guard, is arming the National Guard he has in Washington, D.C. Hasn't backed up one iota on saying he's going to take black history out of schools and take the, quote, ugly part of slavery out of the Smithsonian. And you ain't got nothing to say. I was at a friend's house, and he had all these pictures of black heroes on the wall several years ago. Frederick Douglass, Booker T. I think he had Garvey, Dr. King, and Malcolm. And he said to me, they all didn't agree with each other. I said, no, I know that. Douglass and Booker T had different disagreements and tactics. Malcolm and Dr. King had disagreement and tactics, but they all agreed that we ought to be doing something. What I'm trying to figure out is why you got them on the wall, because you are not following none of them. Sitting around having an intellectual conversation about black leaders and assessing black trains of thought and which one you with is absolutely meaningless unless you're going to get up and do what one of them said. So I'm sitting there right now waiting to see who's going to call in today or write in on the message board and address what's going on. You do know government and all these people around Trump monitor radio stations and want to hear what people got to say. And the best thing they can say is, people ain't all that upset. We listen 3 hours of Reverend Al show and all that. People ain't really that mad. So we can do more. And then you get the inevitable people saying, well, Reverend Al, look like things never change. And you sitting up in a job your mama couldn't have. Went to schools they couldn't go to. Some of you live in the neighborhoods driving cars they couldn't have. And you talk about nothing changed after they changed it? Why don't you just say you're an ungrateful, low-down person that wants to receive everything and do nothing, not even call a radio show to say how you feel. Just say how low down you are. Yeah, times are bad. Yeah, Trump is bad. But things changed. And they didn't change on their own. They didn't change because one day folks woke up and said, let's change and help black folks. They changed because some folks paid a price. And you and I were the recipients of the price that was paid. God said to me just last night, remember, I heard about your march on Wall Street. You don't stop. I said, because they don't stop. They went and changed in 3 days. Cracker Barrel had the man on the symbol of Cracker Barrel. We're going to take him off. What is his name? Uncle Willie Geist gave it to me this morning on Morning Joe. And they protested in 3 days. They changed and put the man back. They don't take minor stuff. We get slapped in our face and don't say nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's why we get absolutely nothing. Mayor Rodney Jones says the terrorist in Minnesota was a 20-year-old white or Caucasian. What's on the mind of a 20-year-old when they don't value life? The devil roams the earth like a roaring lion. You right. It's scary. And 2 kids dead. So that's what I'm saying. You can't escape this. You can't tell your children, grandchildren, just go to school and stay out of it. These kids wasn't protesting in school. They were in school. But because we haven't changed the gun laws or whatever else we find out, they're dead. What's the expression? You can run, but you can't hide. You are not going to avoid this, so you might as well be part of dealing with it. Because it is coming down your block. Don't kid yourself. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. You know, I also think that a lot of us, some of us are scared, and others of us just feel like it'll go away on its own, which is about as ignorant as you could be. Because it never went away on its own. People had to fight to change things. And everybody, I understand, everybody's not frontline fighters. But they supported them. They said, well, I can't go out there, but I'll donate, or I can't go out there, but I'm going to call the radio under another name and let these people know when they're collecting data that I'm against what's going on. They supported them. Everybody not going to lead a march, but everybody can get in one or support one or rally or whatever it is you do. Remember, you don't understand, I'm not with that. You're for what? I don't see you doing anything with running your mouth. I can respect people that I even disagree with. I can respect people that may have different tactics than me if they're doing something. What I don't respect is people that do nothing. Sit along the sidelines and analyze everybody like we care about how smart you are when you ain't smart enough to get up off your behind and do something. These people are not going to stop. So we shouldn't stop. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Anita in Chapel Hill. Anita.
How you doing, Reverend Al?
I'm doing all right.
I know I forgot you said don't keep asking that, but I my son in Chicago for me till they go on the street until tomorrow. So I know that. Well, I wanted to say this about Trump. My mother and my family, my mother was a widow early in her life, and we had an American Indian man marry my mother and help her with her children. And it was wonderful. He was a little younger than my mother, just a little younger. And and as I see American Indians down here, they're still holding this country together. I can still see Thanksgiving in these people. You know, I was at a restaurant. I was working there, and I was wondering how all this was going on. And it was two American Indian sisters there, Native American, Indigenous, whatever you call them, other people call them. And their one son was there. And they was running this restaurant, and the people loved it. And it was just like I felt Thanksgiving. And anytime I run into an American Indian here, Reverend Al, I feel Thanksgiving. I really do. And I'm like, wow, these people are still fighting for their country and their land. And I have tears flowing for them because we were kidnapped from, other, Africa, maybe other countries too. But just because we were black, we've been mistreated. And Donald Trump, seriously, I think Caucasian people, after centuries of not knowing how to socialize with other people properly, seriously, the whole world needs to deal with this, and hopefully not violently. I think Martin Luther King had a good approach. And I think Elijah Muhammad also had a good approach. He told them, if you're going to have many of our women, you can't leave our babies in the streets for centuries and not educate them or teach them and not give them a history and not love our women and treat them wrong. And right. He was right for that. And to massacre them in the street, Reverend Al, with military force, that's the last straw for me, okay?
All right. Thank you for your call. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, taking your calls right now at 1-877-532-5797. Be right back. Keeping it real. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all. I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
I got a Tony.
You got it? My daughter won a Tony Award.
That's crazy.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. And it's going to be hot this Labor Day weekend. Obviously, we're going to be dealing with the outcome of the march tomorrow on Wall Street, and we are going to be dealing with the continued occupation by President Trump on Washington, D.C., and his threats, which Chicago will have on the top of each. And we're going to deal with the Smithsonian. A lot we got to deal with this weekend, holiday weekend, and where we are with laborers on Labor Day weekend. It's a lot to talk about, and you must tune in 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And the shooting in Minneapolis, 2 young kids dead, one 11, one 8. How many people got to die before we have new gun legislation in this country? Definitely want to deal with that. 2 children, 14 children hurt, 2 dead. 14 children hurt and 3 adults. Also, I want everybody that can head to Wall Street. 10 a.m. in the morning, we kick off. We already have buses on the road that has informed us that they are on their way. Louisville is left, Louisville, Kentucky, Memphis, Tennessee is left, Tallahassee, Florida has left. Let me hear from you by phone. Also, I'm looking for you around the country to call in on what's going on. Let me put up on the message screen, Dulcie K. Woods says, Rev, I'm concerned about people who feel they don't get involved in politics. This is one of the worst things we've been misled about because politics are everywhere. It determines where we are born, how we live, and how and where we educated, our health care, etc. There's no doubt about that. Anybody that's telling you they're not in politics is just ignorant to the facts that everything they're talking about is political. Let's go back to the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Reverend Al, how you doing? And I just have a quick question, and I don't know if I necessarily have to stay on the line for you to answer it. But my question is, if Trump is in cognitive decline, he doesn't know what he's really doing or saying, and it takes the people around him that has to either explain it. He doesn't read anything. So how does he know what decisions he's making except the people like Bondi and Nome and the Speaker of the House? Some of those people are actually are the deciding, and the House and the Congress are the ones who is making the decisions. Because if he doesn't know what he's doing, he has health issues, and not only that, but then he meets with Putin. He doesn't know when he's in Alaska, and he thinks he's in Russia. He confuses his wife with the lady he raped, but yet I know I'm kind of jumping around. But even in Alaska, when he met with Putin, did you see recently they had the drones over in Alaska, and I guess the military had to shoot Russian drones down. So people don't know what he's telling Putin. He could be giving away all kind of secrets. He could be transgressing back to the days. His daddy was the Ku Klux Klan. So how do we know he hasn't transgressed and he really doesn't know what he's doing? But I'll hang up and listen. So that's the problem.
Well, I tell you, there's been a number of times that they have said that he lost his train of thought talking. He certainly just, I remember during the speech, he just started babbling. And if Biden did anything awkward, that's all they would talk about. He is the age now that Biden was when he was in office. He's 79 years old. And absolutely, I think there is a problem when people are in constant need of affirmation, constant need of you're the greatest president in the world. Nobody ever got a Nobel Prize did what you've done. When people are in constant need of that, I think that's a problem. I think that's something in their personality that is missing. And to think that people with those kind of self-affirmation problems and those kind of self-doubt and complexes are in fact leading the country ought to be scary, because anybody who's smart, don't forget somebody like Putin was in intelligence, they would know how to just, okay, he's got a complex, he likes adulation, well, we can use that to maneuver him. That's dangerous. That's dangerous national security. And I think that we need to be concerned about that. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. What I don't hear a lot of is a lot of my MAGA callers. Last year this time, we get maybe 2 or 3 a day, people talking about why they were voting for Trump or why they are not voting for Kamala. I wonder where they are. They ain't calling me now. Trump been in 7 months, and he's done everything but use the N-word. I mean, y'all shame? I'm waiting to hear from you. I even heard from, what's his name, David in Baltimore. Where y'all at? I really, really, as far as I'm concerned, don't think people realize the seriousness of the position we're in. It's serious. And with the Supreme Court going against us, it's going to take a generation, if we get started now, to turn this stuff back. If they dilute the Voting Rights Act, that can affect voting for many years. That's why we got to stop it now. That's why Wall Street tomorrow is so important. That's why our continued consistent battles. That's why I keep playing when Reverend Jackson said we never marched on Wall Street. I said, well, we won't do it. I don't know how many is coming, but I'm going. Martin III and his wife, Andrea, they going. It needs to be done. One of the greatest things that could happen to me is that somebody tell Reverend Jackson tomorrow evening, they showed up by the thousands on Wall Street, your challenge. He's now wheelchair bound. muscle speech because of the Parkinson's disease. But he took time and gave his life for many years serving our community, as others did. But he touched me personally as a young kid, 12 years old, growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, on welfare, told me I was somebody, and I believed him. So I respect that. And no greater award, honorary degree, nothing you can give me more than somebody like him and others that mentored me to say they're proud of their investment in me. You know, a guy told me not long ago, man, I hear you speak all the time. You always mention Jesse. You always mention James Brown. I said, that's right, and I always will. Because they did for me what my own father didn't do. My father left. And they didn't have to. I wasn't their child. So the least I could be is grateful. The one thing people need never be accused of is don't be ungrateful. And I learned how to fight, and I'm going to keep fighting from them. May not be your way, but I learned their way, and I'm going to keep fighting. And the harder they fight us, the harder I'm going to fight back. And I say it all the time, that you may win a round or two with me, but they're going to have to wake you up in the hospital and tell you won on points, because you're going to know you was in a fight, because I'm going to give it all I got. Laurie Parks, I feel better already. She said, I'm here in New York now, headed to the House of Justice. We in for it now. The energizing bunny herself is here. Laurie Parks in town. And we getting ready to get it on tomorrow. If you got any way of getting here, a scooter, bike, train, plane, or bus, come on up. If they can get on a bus in Louisville, Kentucky, you ain't got no excuse from Brooklyn, New York. They're on the road now. If they can get on a bus in Tallahassee, Florida, you ain't got no excuse from the Bronx, New York. If they get on a bus from Atlanta, Georgia, you ain't got an excuse from Baltimore, other than you're lazy and ungrateful. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. Keeping it real.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York. The port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves, the person, they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's why they named it Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. those our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to non-violently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Good to see you again, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
Yeah. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helping pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But now. Oh.
I got a Tony.
You got it. My daughter won a Tony Award.
That's crazy.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Miss Whitaker, North Carolina. Miss Whitaker. Miss Whitaker.
Hello?
Yes, you're there.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing well. How are you?
Great. I just want to say thank you for everything you guys are doing for all of us. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes, I just had to do that. There's so much I want to talk about, but that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I can tell us what's on your mind.
Well, it's a lot, but sometimes my mama said, don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing all the time. If we got a plan, keep our plan to ourselves, but put out another plan for other people. So stuff like that. But I'll talk later, but I just have to say thank you, and God bless you.
Well, God bless you, and God bless you for saying that. I mean, people think that we hear that all the time, and we don't. And we certainly appreciate it when we do. Thank you for your call.
Yes.
Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. I see Evangelist Ramsey's been texting me on the message page, and every time I take a call, her message is gone. But I see her back on saying "represent well" to Dottie Galson, and I think that I always call out the true blue activists because there's so many that are not, and I think that that's important. And I like the encouraging words we give each other, because we realize this is a struggle. And I think some of us use the word struggle and don't understand the significance of a struggle. Struggle in and of itself means it's not going to be easy, and that it is going to be challenging, and it's going to require you dig down deep and really get some real, find out what you're made of. And a lot of people think it is fun. I can't tell you the kind of people. I did Morning Joe this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, New York time, till about 7:30. Going back on tomorrow morning. Was on Monday, didn't do Tuesday. Reverend Al always on TV, but they don't look at the fact that you got to study, because you on with some of the brightest minds on television, that's going to know something and try to trip something up. I work out every morning, so if I'm on at 6, I'm up in the gym by 3:30. Most folk don't want to work like that, but they want to be mad at you putting in the hours and the study and take the attacks that they wouldn't take. And I don't say this because I want somebody to feel sorry for me. I'll say this to put in context why it means something when people are complimenting us, because it means something. Because, I live in New York. I'm on the road a lot, but I live in New York. They have one tabloid in New York, very conservative, New York Post, and they will attack any and everything, not only me, anybody that stands up to Trump or the system. If we jaywalk, they might have a picture on the front page. And you got people that look at that and despise you because of that kind of foolishness. All right, 1-877-532-5797. Tricia says, looks like it's going to be perfect marching weather in New York City tomorrow for the big march. Well, it looks like it, and I pray to God we have good weather. But whether we have good weather or not, I'm going to be there. We marching. We got to back these people up. We have to let them know we're serious about we're not going to be trampled on. We're serious about our rights, serious about those that pay the price. I mean, every year, I guess for the last 25, 30 years, I've gone to Selma on the anniversary of the Selma March weekend. I was too young. I was in 65 when they did the march. I was 10 going on 11. But when I got became old enough to understand what they did and why, I go for the enactment of the march, and was blessed to be there with John Lewis and Amelia Boykin and Hosea Williams, who were the leaders of the march in 65 and were gassed. And I've gone across that bridge with all three of them and others many years. Been doing it about 25 years. Hosea passed, John Lewis passed, now Amelia Boynton has passed. And I feel I owe it to them to keep it going. I feel that it is our responsibility to keep it going. Let's go to Deshaun in Washington, D.C. Deshaun.
Hello. Like I told the screener, these civil rights leaders, they only have the same plan over and over, marching and voting. Been doing that since before Motown had their first hit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's on the bottom end.
We agree. They have. And it's worked. That's why we got a right to vote. That's why we got open housing. That's why we got public accommodations. That's correct. They've been doing the same thing, and it's worked. And they should keep on doing it because it'll keep on working. That is absolutely right. You and I don't usually agree, Deshaun. I agree with you. They've been doing the same thing, and they need to keep on doing the same thing. Every time we tried to do something else, it didn't work. Every time we said, oh, no, I'm going on the other side, and they'll accept me, it didn't work. We end up going backwards. So, yeah, we need to do what works. Only someone, in my mind, that's silly is going to stop doing what works. Let's go to...
May I speak?
Yeah.
Okay. We was on the bottom then, we was on the bottom now.
No,
so nothing has really changed.
If nothing has changed, then why are we doing more than we were able to? You do realize it was against the law for us to even vote, right? You do realize it was against the law for us to go to schools. So what do you mean?
Let's be honest. This is all you all are just doing this for the bag. That's y'all's only plan.
What bag?
Make your bag for you.
What
make
bag?
a bag
Tell
for
me.
yourself.
Well, all right. Let me ask you a question, because I want you to think for your answer, because you could be sued for that. Because we can trace where you are. What bag do you know that we get? Name it.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about all
I see
the
you back
civil
up
rights
then.
leaders in general.
Name one of them that you know is getting a bag for marching and voting. Name them.
What I'm saying is,
What
it's
you're
not
saying is
working,
you are
Al,
making an
and you know it.
accusation that you can't back up. Ain't nobody. People can get more
No,
of a
what I'm saying
bag.
is-
They can get more of a bag going on the other side. That's the people getting the grants from
So
Trump and them.
so you mean to tell me? You mean to tell me that y'all's only playing marching and voting and waiting
No,
for
you
the
said
next
that.
step? That's y'all's
You
plan?
said that. Well, I said that
Why
was
don't y'all talk about something else?
because
Y'all talk about the
marching
same
and
thing
voting
every day.
Marching and voting are tools and strategies that will help us with everything
It
else.
doesn't work anymore.
Well, if it didn't work, then why are we able to do what we're able to do? We just was able to beat Trump in 2020. We talking about it didn't work. Trump just lost the last.
Yeah, but y'all lost it. Y'all
And we
lost
go
it
and
24.
you lose
Took
some
a
and you
L.
win some. You lose some and you win some.
And you
And he
gonna take
barely
another
won
one
that
at
time.
28,
He barely
32,
won that time.
36,
So I mean, but you
40,
exposed yourself
44.
this time because when I called your bluff on naming the bag, you started stuttering and backing up because that's always what y'all do. You'll try to act like people are hustling, and when somebody say who, what did they get? You can't say it because you can't argue the policy. You got to try to smear the people, and that's just unfair. I would never say that about you. You like Trump. I'm not saying you're doing it for money. So at least respect the fact people can disagree with you and not be hustling. Let's be fair with each other, Deshaun. You ain't that bad a person. Come on. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join. Take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. One year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negroitis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now, Ackman and them started it going at Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10 or 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this. We were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year, we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York. Chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, remember the chairman of the board, remember the CEO, I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights, I learned that from Donald Trump. I said, what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump said he's gonna redo tariffs, that if he doesn't get what he wants for the country, they were gonna raise the tariffs. I'm doing the black tariff reverse. If we don't get what we want, I mean, y'all can't be for Trump and tariff and not be for us in the African American community with a tariff. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the 2 companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're gonna do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man, don't call me the coin man. I'm gonna stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify. It's not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And we're going to have some of the members of the Senate, the Congress. We're going to deal with the National Guard in Washington. What are the results after 2 weeks, as well as what is going on with the threat in Chicago. We're going to deal with the museum, Smithsonian, a lot of issues, and of course, the fallout from the march. I might add, I've been putting a great emphasis on the march, but on Saturday, which I will be at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem at the House of Justice, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 145th and Lenox. And Saturday, August 30th, will be the 14th anniversary of Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I've been on 14 years as of Saturday. We started 5 days a week for 5 years, then went to Sunday mornings for an hour, and then went to Saturday and Sunday the last 5 years. Most shows the last 2 years, we will have been on 14 years this Saturday. And that's only because you have supported the show. The ratings speak for themselves, and the guests speak for themselves. So I absolutely am indebted to you and want to celebrate that with you on Saturday. And I'll be at the rally. We're going to follow up the march at the rally. And then, of course, you that are still, some folk I have cousins that don't do nothing to the last minute. This is the last of our radio segments today. Get up and get to the march if you're any way possible. 10 o'clock tomorrow at Foley Square in Manhattan, Lower Manhattan, a block from the African burial ground. You won't miss us. Thousands of us will be there. And then we're going to march just a mile and 1.1 mile to the bull, the symbol of Wall Street. And Martin Luther King III and Andrea King and many of our civil rights fellow leaders, Mark Morial, Maya Wiley, all will be there. Many of our head of the National Baptist Convention, the head of the Bishop of the AME Zion Church, our student activists, all kinds of people will be there to help lead this march on the 62nd anniversary of the March on Washington, where Dr. King talked about a dream. Well, what is the state of the dream? And the people on Wall Street are profiting and benefiting off of cutting social services, Medicaid, SNAP programs. People on Wall Street finance the move against DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we're going to write to them. We don't let them throw their rock and hide their hand. We're going to them, and we're going to put the spotlight on them. So as they think they leaving Thursday evening for the Hamptons or Martha's Vineyard, they're going to see a mass of people saying, we know who you are, and we're going to deal with you. You're the ones financing what Trump is doing. All right, let's go to Skyana in Virginia. Skyana, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Yes. This is Skyanne.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can I talk now?
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just have 4 comments I would like to address with Mr. Sharpton. First of all, Donald Trump, what he's doing is declaring martial law illegally. He's trying to take over every state there is, pretty much, eventually what he's going to do. And once the president declares martial law, you all know that the governor, the senators, the mayor have no power. that the president makes all the controls that state. Secondly, what Donald Trump is doing is the South Africans, refugees that he's bringing into the United States, saying that they're fleeing from the war, and which is mostly Caucasian people that he's bringing in here, and most of them are being assigned to Tennessee. That's why that gerrymandering, everything, I believe that's what it is called, gerrymandering is doing. So he's bringing in all these refugees, and, we assigning them to different states, and so therefore, what he's doing in Texas, he's putting so many people there. And then Donald Trump, I believe what he's going to do, once they're there for 6 months, he's going to give them the right to vote. Also, with the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., people need to go down there and see what Hitler did to the Jewish people, because that's happening here in the United States. Donald Trump is a dictator. He doesn't care about the American people. He doesn't care about our democracy. He wants to just be a dictator and take total control. And then the Proud Boys. Oh, my God. During January the 6th, when he sat there and pardoned them Proud Boys and everything, now that he pardoned them, what he's doing, he is deputizing them. From my understanding, they're becoming your ICE agent. They're becoming your security people. That's why they're going around snatching people off the street. So wearing masks, who does that in the United States? If you've been beat up or whatever by the police now, and you can't identify it. You can't give them a description because they got masks on. So I feel like that's totally illegal what he's doing. So we really need, like Al Sharpton said, take what's going on in the United States, because we're on the verge of becoming a communist country. And for him to roll out the red carpet for Putin and then sit here in Tennessee going to detain and put the Democratic Party, some of them under house arrest, how dare you, Mr. President? Well, I don't even want to say Mr. President, but Adolf Hitler, a.k.a. Adolf Hitler is a lie. He has been reincarnated to that. What is he, the 47th president?
Yeah, 47.
I mean, we have so much going on. So we need to look at how he bringing them South African refugees here, and they going down to the states where they doing the gerrymandering. It's a lot more that I want to say, but I know my time is limited.
Well, no, I appreciate your call.
Call
Thank you for your call,
okay.
And thank you for hanging with us. It's Reverend. Let's go out.
Hey, how you doing, Reverend? I spoke with a couple of violence and things like that. The hashtag here matters. Now, Reverend, as your generation and generations before you would say, the handwriting is on the wall. And it's on the wall for these inner cities and these people, how they act up in the hood. And remember, I was telling you, I am definitely in the hood. I don't necessarily stay there 24/7, but I'm all around. You know what I'm saying? I stayed in the hood. I be through the hood. My people is in the hood. So what I'm seeing in Detroit is more or less like a replication of what's going on in L.A., New York, Chicago. But I'm saying the handwriting is on the wall, Rev. We've got to clamp down on tougher laws, tougher sentencing, stopping these people, these individuals, our black people that go to liquor stores, get crazy, buck wild, drink, smoke, act the monkeys behind. Rev, I know you like to do a lot of marches. When are you going to start doing marches right up in the hood 24/7, and then we march right over to the police station?
You're in Detroit? You in Detroit?
Yes, I'm in Detroit, and I know
Whoa. Then we rally every Saturday in Detroit and in New York, and we deal with these issues and go confront these kinds of people every Saturday. There's no organization that does that. When are you going to join and help do something other than call the radio station and ask what everybody else is doing? Think about that, because no organization, including you, meet on a weekly basis, and everybody know where we meet, and then we go in the community and do it. Y'all run your mouth, but you run nothing to help the community. You just condemn the community and don't uplift the community. You call the wrong one on the wrong day. Let me take my step to the rear and get on out of here. Let me thank all of you that called in and listened in. And remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you after the march.